Alrighty, guys. So today we're gonna be talking about the failure that was the new Snow White movie, and a lot of the comments that Rachel Zegler made that I don't believe helped it at all. But first, let's look at some of the stuff that she said in the past on really her hatred and disdain towards the property of Snow White. So this was put together by Random Stars. I'll credit him in the description. Let's watch.
You said you were bringing a modern edge to it on stage. What do you mean by that?
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true. And so it's just a really incredible story for I think young people everywhere to see themselves in.
Snow White is
So here she is hating on the original property, basically saying it's outdated. Yet here she is wanting to adapt it. Anyways, let's continue.
running for president.
I'm launching my campaign.
Cringe.
I am.
But I think there's something so special about Snow White, the fact that it's about the humanity and it's about nature as well, and it's a beautiful story about an amazing girl who wants to find the true self of hers. That is just so appealing and so special.
I was scared of the original cartoon. I think I watched it once and then I never picked it up again. Like, I'm being so serious. I watched it once and then I went on the ride in Disney World, which was called Snow White's Scary Adventures. Doesn't sound like something a little kid would like. Was terrified of it. Never revisited Snow White again. So I watched it for the first time in probably 16, 17 years when I was doing this film. I mean,
So that contrast is so funny right there, because you have Gal Gadot showing like love and reverence towards the property of Snow White, but then you have Rachel Zegler saying she was scared of it, she didn't like it, which is really not what you want to be saying when you're playing the lead role in that property. You know, like you would want to play Snow White because you love Snow White, right? You want to adapt Snow White for a new generation because the older generation liked it, because that old movie is so beloved. You want to get that older demographic back. You want to feed on the nostalgia, have parents maybe show their kids what they grew up with. But no, here she is hating on it, which kind of defeats the whole purpose of doing a remake, right? If the original property sucks, then why even adapt it?
you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird. So we didn't do that this time.
So now Prince or a different kind of Prince?
We have a different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story just because, like, we cast a guy in the movie, Andrew Burnap, great dude. Yeah. It's one of those things that I think everyone's gonna have their assumptions about what it's actually going to be, but it's really not about the love story at all, which is really, really wonderful. And whether or not she finds love along the way is anybody's guess until 2024. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut, who knows? It's Hollywood, baby.
If I'm going to stand there 18 hours in a dress with an iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed online.
Germans have figured out.
Okay. Oh no, I clicked on the ad. Alrighty, so what she was saying right there about it being made in 1937 and being very evidently so, that's just her like expressing pure disdain for the property. She's saying, hey, look, this thing was made in this old time period, and you can tell, and she's not saying that in a good way. Let's go back to what she says. All right.
Once, and then I went on the ride in Disney World, which was called Snow. Literally stalks her. There's a big 16, 17 years when I have a big focus on her love story with 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird. So we didn't do that this time.
So, and what she's doing, by the way, is she's hating the audience. She's expressing disdain towards the audience that loves Snow White. If this old property is weird, if it's misogynistic, if it's bad, then you are therefore bad if you like it. So tell me, why should anyone go watch your remake of that movie when you are expressing disdain towards the people that you want to come get to see your movie? It doesn't make any sense. You know, if I was to make a new like Spider-Man movie and say, you know what, Spider-Man was made in 1962 and very evidently so. He's not getting bitten by a spider. Weird. He's not gonna live with his aunt. Weird. Hold up. Yeah, and he's not gonna swing webs and he's not gonna climb walls. Well, all the fans of Spider-Man would be like, well, I like that he was bit by a spider and he got his powers in that way, and that he lives with his aunt. And he swings webs and climbs walls. Like, that's Spider-Man. That's what makes the character who he is. And if you're saying that's weird, am I weird for liking it? And yes, that is what she's saying. I don't think she realizes she's saying that because she has a very progressive way of thinking. You know, I don't know where she grew up, but she's, I mean, obviously a Zoomer as myself, but, you know, thank God I didn't end up like that. but she's a Zoomer, and she went through the progressive education system. And the issue is, young people nowadays have no reverence towards what came before them. They think they're flying when they're standing on the shoulders of giants, you know, and she's the epitome of that. That this is what she's doing. You know, she's acting like she's flying when she's standing on the shoulders of giants. The giants being the original Snow White movie and Snow White story. So, where do I think Disney goes from this? Well, first of all, I don't think Disney's going to continue being as woke as they've been in the past. But this movie was made 2 years ago. It takes a long time to make movies. This movie had to come out. I think this is a holdover. So, but after Trump winning, and really that sending a message, a cultural message towards what people want. Because remember, Disney's in the money making business, right? And as we've seen with them making changes to some other stuff, I think we will be getting a lot less of this. I don't know where Rachel Zegler's career goes. I hope she does well. You know, I wish her the best. I hope that she changes her ways and her way of thinking. And I understand that it can be a lot, getting a lot of people sending you harsh criticism, even when it's valid, you know. So again, I'm not the target demographic for this movie. I wasn't particularly heartbroken that apparently wasn't that good. I mean, I didn't see it, so I'm not commenting on the quality of the movie. So I'm just commenting on the cultural relevance of everything surrounding it. But yeah, and this movie has not been doing well at the box office, and I think this is a big reason why. Not so much because of the quality of the movie, because we've seen a lot of bad movies do well, but mainly because the main star in the movie has been hating on the fan base, has been hating on the original source material, you know. And the whole point of doing a remake is to honor the original source material and to get back the fan base, to get them to come back. If that wasn't the case, they would have just made a new princess movie. It doesn't have to be Snow White. I mean, it shouldn't have been Snow White. I mean, she's brown. Snow White's not brown. And let's look at actually let's look at her other posts. So this was on her Instagram story, and this is her reaction to the election. So, I mean, I'm just going to skip towards the first two paragraphs. Let's read the last thing she said. I echo Ethel Cain, I don't even know who that is, Ethel Cain's statement more than anything. May Trump supporters and Trump voters and Trump himself never know peace. Okay, so I saw that. I was like, who's Ethel Cain? I don't know. And Ethel Cain reacts to Donald Trump's win. If you voted for Trump, I hope that peace never finds you. Instead, I hope that clarity strikes you someday like a clap of lightning, and you have to live the rest of your lives with the knowledge and guilt of what you've done and who you are as a person. Okay, so Rachel Zegler says she echoes this lady's claims. So she wishes harm on Trump voters. And guess what? Trump voters are a majority of the country. He won the popular vote. So again, when you hate on these people, when you hate on the majority of the country, when you hate on the fans of what you're adapting, you can't expect success. You know, even if the movie ended up being great, these wouldn't have helped it. And you know, with the movie not being as good as apparently not that great, if her public sentiments showed love and appreciation and reverence towards the original source material, and if she didn't alienate half the country, I think this movie would have done a bit better. I don't know if it would have done amazingly, made $1 billion, but I think it would have done a bit better. But alrighty, guys. So the main lesson to take away from this overall is with everything you do in life, all success that you have, remember you are here because of those who came before you. And remember that. Do not forget that. You know, I'm not just sitting in a chair or like in this room because of me. You know, all of these things were invented in the past. You know, we're all benefiting from Western civilization. I'm just rambling on, but you get the point. Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. You guys have a blessed one. Goodbye.